Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Brad, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another Duel Links video. Today, we have an update to my KC Cup journey. As you can see here, I am Duelist level max. We managed to get all the way up to level 20 in the KC Cup, and so I thought what I'd do is very similar to what I did last year with the, or earlier this year with the World Championship qualifiers. We'd go through the decks that I used to get to max stage, so you guys can use them and see if you like them or not. I've got a couple of replays for you guys as well. But as you can see here, there was a pretty decent streak. There was one loss here, and then this I believe was like level 17, Duelist level 17 or Duelist level 18. Had a pretty bad loss streak against 3 crowds in a row, but thankfully that didn't derank me, which was really good. So these 3 decks, 2 of them are very similar. 2 different takes on a deck, and one of them is completely different. So let's start with the first deck. We're using My Valentine, and it is, of course, standard Hazy Flame. So, if you don't know what Hazy Flame SPHINX, the basic general just the deck is, it's using the Aroma Strategy skill, which is the one that lets you to see the next card in your deck. So you can combine it with Hazy Flame SPHINX, and use her effect to declare one card type, so you can always know the top card of your deck, send it to the graveyard, and then special summon a fire type monster with it from your hand or graveyard. So she's really good in being able to get out things like Sergeant Electro, or this guy Heavy Knight of the Flame. Then you normal summon Heavy Knight of the Flame, use it to banish some special summon monsters, so very nice counter to Cyber Angels. Of course, Sergeant Electro just locks down back row, which is really what he is for in this deck, and I run him in both variants of Hazy Flame that I do run. There's 2 Soul Exchange. Now, this is here because there are going to be times where you're going to be stuck. So if your opponent has an HG Gear Golem on the field or something, use this to summon out your Hazy Flame SPHINX. Again, with the Cyber Angels, it can just get rid of one of them on the field. But this deck, to me, wasn't all that good. This got me from like round 1 to round 6 or 7, I believe it was, and I just stopped using it because it was getting a little bricky with like Lava Golem not working a lot of the time, because you do then need to rely on them not being able to attack into it, or you having econs, and I wasn't drawing the econs in time. And of course, just the defensive lineup here is a bit bad, especially when early game was a ton of Ancient Gears, and Ancient Gears lock down your traps and spells when they attack, so really your only option was to play either econ before they attacked, or to play impenetrable attack, you know, before the battle phase started, to keep the monster on the field. So this version of the deck I don't think was as good, and I don't feel is as good as the second version that I used, which I'm actually going to save for last because it's the one I used the most. Well, I think it's the most duels, but not the most time. So the second deck we used was a version of Whitey Dan's Gladiator Beast deck, and this is, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, okay, why are you running 2 Murmillo and 3 Bestiari? The reason is, I don't have a ton of Mirror Walls or impenetrable attacks, and so I had to sort of replace those with Wall of D, which again isn't very good because of Ancient Gears, and I don't have 2 Cosmic Cyclones either, so I can't do 2 spell track card removals, so which is why there is a 3rd Bestiari. So you can go, when it's special summon out, you can, you know, pop one of their back row. But Spear Karibo coming in clutch for a lot of duels is going to be 2 replays with this deck, I believe. Spear Karibo coming in clutch both times, but Gladiator Beasts are just one of my favourite, most fun decks to play right now. You know, they are pretty cheap, to be fair. You know, they are an SR based deck, with like Laquari being the main SR you need, and honestly, as much as it hates me to say this, you don't need Heraclinos. I very rarely use him. I've used him like twice, just on very easy games where the opponent has a cleared board. But this guy, Gladiator Beast Neurokius, is the main MVP of this deck. If you're stuck in any situation and you just manage to have 3 Gladiator Beasts on the field, you manage to save yourself. This guy is insane. He cannot destroy a battle, so he can't destroy a battle, and if he attacks or is attacked, he has the same effects as Ancient Gears, except it also works for monster effects, so you can't activate Sphere Karibos, you can't activate flip effects of your opponent's monsters. So there's going to be one replay later on where that actually would have affected whether I'd be able to win or lose the game or not. And then at the end of the damage step, you can shuffle him into the extra deck to get 2 Gladiator Beasts out from your deck. I don't use this effect too much because I kind of like having him to just sit on the field and be indestructible, really. I think the only time that people have got around him has been with a Soul Exchange. So he's a really cool card, and then Esadari just doesn't really get used unless I really feel like I can just cheese, I guess. It's not a very integral part of this deck. It is good when things like Laquari or Bestiari get set face down because of what's it called, Floodgate Trap Hole. If they get floodgated, then of course contact fusing them is a good way to get them back into your deck and usable again. So that's the only time I've really used Esadari. But let's go and have a look at 2 replays featuring this deck. Haven't done this in a while. Now that we're here, we can now focus on the KC Cup. Or not KC Cup, we can focus on Ranked and going through Ranked and getting to the King of Games. And then we can try doing some fun decks. So let's go to these first. There's 2 decks here. I believe these are both Ancient Gears. One of them might not be. One might be a beatdown deck. We'll have to see when the replay loads. But I believe this was around stage 10, I'd like to say. I can't remember. You're going against Crowler. Literally, like, the first 12 stages were literally all Ancient Gears. I think I didn't see a Cyber Angel player until, like, stage 16. So it was a nice, I say nice. It's a breath of fresh air. He's running middle-aged mechs. We have Balance. Now, Balance did get nerfed, and it is a bit more random. You're not always going to start with 2 monsters and 2 spell or traps, which the deck I think does allow you to do, but you do often start with 3 and 1, sometimes 2 and 2, and sometimes like the next card will be a spell or trap, so it's always quite useful. Now here, I think I made the wrong play. I probably should have gone and used Cosmic Cyclone on that Gear Castle so that he couldn't summon anything else straight away, but he summoned another Gear Castle anyway, and then got its effect off to summon out Ancient Gear Engineer, which wasn't an issue because thankfully Engineer didn't have enough attack points, so we got rid of the second Gear Castle, and we didn't do anything, because if that face down was a Wall of D, then this would have been a complete loss. And here, this Crowler kind of screwed up. We're playing our impenetrable attack when we use it so we can't, so one monster isn't destroyed by battle, and we target it to our Murmelo, and he still attacks in with the Engineer. Triggering its effect, of course, we're going to get a Bestiari to pop one of the back rows, I believe. Yeah. And so we popped the middle one, and it was a mirror wall, so we would have, you know, been in a hugely negative position. And here he comes, Gladiator Beast Nerokius, that gets floodgated. And at this point, I'm kind of like terrified because him being floodgated is not what I really want, but we go for the attack anyway. He's going for Ancient Gear Golem, which was quite handy actually that he didn't summon a third monster and then just try to attack into Laquari multiple times. But he wanted to do the damage. He attacks in, we use... Okay, no, we just died. Yeah, we didn't have Sphere Kuriboh in this one. Okay, there's Sphere Kuriboh again. Now we're pretty much safe. He takes us to that to deal the piercing damage. We use Sphere Kuriboh, and this is where we go in again. Do the triple contact summon. Going in for Nerokius. Now we attack into it with Nerokius so he can get his effect off to special summon out 2 Gladiator Beasts. And of course we go for Bestiari and Murmelo so we can pop that back row and pop the Ancient Gear Golem off the field. What was the back row again? Was it a Floodgate? I can't remember what it was. It was a Wall of D, so he couldn't have used it anyway with Nerokius, which is good. Going again for Nerokius, and I think we just sit on Nerokius now. Now, had we not had Nerokius here, he would have been able to summon Hamster and get 2 tokens out, which would then just delayed us, you know, killing him even further. And he might have been able to make a comeback on this turn after this one, but thankfully he didn't. And that was a very, very easy win for us with the against the Ancient Gears with Gladiator Beasts. Let's go on to this second one here. I believe this is the second one. Hopefully I didn't just play the same one over and over again, which wouldn't have been good. But let's see. I believe this is another middle-aged max. Going against a Japanese user. Let's see. Was this mid-range max or was this beatdown? Going first. We have balance. Okay, so no, this was a... I think this is a Gladiator Beast mirror match. But he has beatdown. Yeah, see, Walls of D's. Thankfully, Wall of D is not too harmful to Gladiator Beasts when they attack directly, because of course you can just replace them with 2 powerful monsters. So we go for Laquari and Dimikai, I believe. I really can't wait for Darius to be in the game. Polymerization. Oh, okay, no, this was Dark Paladin. This was a fun deck to see in ranked, actually, and to see in the KC Cup, because I haven't seen Dark Paladin in a very long time. Anti-Magic Arrow, so he would destroy it, but we had Sphere Kuriboh in hand. And then, of course, we're going to go for the big guy once again. Triple Conflict Fusion into Gladiator Beast Nerokius. Nerokius is great. And again, we just sit on it. Because he can't do anything, especially when his deck rolls around Fusion Summoning. And there's our Bestiari. Use Nerokius, get rid of that Mirage Dragon, and go for game. Nerokius is literally the best Gladiator Beast fusion we have right now. As soon as we get Geyserus, though, that status is then going to be demoted. So, Gladiator Beasts, of course, they are in the new set in Cosmic Chaos, or whatever it's called, no. Oh, what is even the new set called? The new set is called Galactic Origin, not Cosmic Chaos. Okay, I don't know what that was. But yeah, they are pretty viable. They will brick sometimes, but if you get the right matchup, they're really good. And now my favourite deck, my favourite Hazy Flame deck, Hazy Flame Horus. This deck is too much fun. So we first have multiple ways of summoning out Horus. We have either Hazy Flame SPHINX, or we have Soul Exchange, or Mausoleum of the Emperor. And really the goal is to literally get Horus out and then level him up to Horus level 8 and just sit on that and just lock down Cyber Angels, because that is the thing. I came up against Cyber Angels starting at stage 15 and I was like, okay, I need to just lock down those Cyber Angels to get to this stage 20, and Horus was the easiest way to do that, because as soon as you really get Horus on the field, most Cyber Angel players will rage quit, they will just surrender because they can't do anything. Their deck requires spell cards to work, and so it is very similar to the other deck. It does run Sergeant Electro. We also run Canine at all. This guy is really cool because once per turn, if this card battles, you can send one Beast Warrior, Wing Beast from your deck or hand to the graveyard, and it gains attack equal to the star level of the monster's sent. So usually what we would do is we would get rid of Hazy Flame SPHINX to give it 600 extra attack, and that basically lets it get over things like Gladiator Beasts or a couple of Ancient Gears, actually. And I think in some of the replays that I'm going to show you to leave off this video, there is a few of those moments. And of course Econ is there because Econ is incredible. Econ take contributing for Horus level 6 is an incredibly fun thing to do, or even Hazy Flame SPHINX and then special summoning Horus with its effect. And of course Flame Tiger has multiple times allowed me to get Horus out when I've only had Horus in my hand, and you just special summon him from the graveyard instead of conducting a draw. It is a very, very viable card. I only run one of them because I only have one, but I don't think I'd run more because it just, after its one use, it's kind of not that useful, I guess. So let's go and have a look at some of these replays. These are all going to be very, very quick. Unfortunately, I couldn't save all of the good ones. So these ones aren't too fantastic, but they'll give you a general gist of the deck. Going to go against Maximilian Pegasus first of all. Lots of people running Mind Scan. That's something you need to be aware of, is that all these people can see my cards face down. So there were a lot of games where I'd have like 3 back row and my opponent would be trying to guess how I was going to play certain situations, and I'd try to mix things up a bit to let some monsters die when he thought I'd use the spell and when I wouldn't. So it is a very hard skill to play around, but it is a very fun skill to play against because you can just troll your opponent in ways that they don't see coming despite them being able to see everything coming. So going to be against the Gladiator Beast, of course we're going to use Mausoleum to summon out Hazy Flame SPHINX and then go for Sergeant Electro just to lock down that back row. And this one I thought I had in the bag very easily, but it turns out I didn't, I don't think. I think this one went a little bit sour very quickly. Yeah, enemy controller putting that into defense mode, then going for Bestiari, and then Bestiari going out. And I believe he should have gone for Murmino here, but he didn't. He went for Laquari, and this was his undoing. He really shouldn't have done this. because we can now lock down that back row, and we can summon Caninosaur, and then use Caninosaur to match Laquari and kill it. So had he gone for Murmillo, we wouldn't have been able to do that, and we wouldn't have been able to win. So again, people even in stage 19 can still misplay hard, and unless the Murmillos were in his hand, which they might have been because he didn't open very strongly for Gladiator Beasts, then there's nothing you can really do about that, unfortunately. But let's move on to another Mind Scan Duelist. I believe this one might be Cyber Angels. I'm not too sure. There's just a lot of people running Mind Scan with everything, because it just gives you such a good advantage over your opponent, but then you don't get things like balance or strategy, which we are taking a huge advantage of. Let's see what this Pegasus was using. Okay, so our hand... Okay, this one was quite interesting. So, let me see my next turn, actually. Right, goes for the Senju, running Cyber Angels. Here is, again, where someone just doesn't know how to play the deck, or didn't have the cards in hand, they just ended. And at this point, you might be thinking, okay, use Soul Exchange, get rid of that monster, summon something else out, and next turn, go for the win. But no, because our next card is Horus the Black Flame Dragon, level 6, we now just have to get that out on the field as soon as possible and go for level 8. So regardless of this attack here, which did win the duel, or I think it did, yeah. So regardless of whether we would have won the duel at that point by attacking with everything, as long as we got Horus level 6 on the field and we destroyed that Senju, then we would have been fine, because the opponent would have rage quit, because we would have been able to get Horus level 8 out on the field and just lock down their spell cards. So their entire deck would have been useless. And finally, I believe this is an Ancient Gear player. I hope this is the duel I'm thinking of, because I think this one was either quite long or I can't remember. It's been a while, been a few hours. My Valentine versus Dr. Velian Crowler. Let's see how this went. Going second. I don't like going second, just because you're prone to floodgates, and this deck really doesn't like it. He's running 21 cards, middle-aged mechs, so yes, Ancient Gears, and our starting hand wasn't great, except we did get Horus. So we go for Hazy Flame SPHINX, let that get floodgated. It didn't get floodgated at all. Go for Horus, and here is the kicker. Wall of D. We can use enemy controller just to make his monster 0 as well, so he has a huge deficit. We deal some damage, except his Ancient Gear Beast. We floodgate the Beast, so he can't do anything. Horus level 8 is now in our hand, so now we have to work out how do we get Horus onto the field, and at this point things just start to go downhill. We set a Flame Tiger, we're now... He has... How many counters are on his Gear Castle? Okay, so he has 6 counters. He could have summoned Gear Golem at this point, and this is what I was really fearing. This was that on that turn he would have summoned Gear Golem, attacked in, and then would have done me 3k piercing, which would have been horrible, and that would have been my... This was on my rank up game, I believe it was. So we summon out our Hazy Flame SPHINX, get rid of that, go for that, and because I have a feeling that we knew that this card in the graveyard, I believe we got rid of a trap card or something, or he used a trap. He used Wall of D, didn't he? I believe these two were econs, or at least one of them was an econ. And he just used that, got rid of it. We summon Horus. We now have a match for his Ancient Gear Golem if he summons one. Although our Hazy Flame SPHINX could still die. Which it does. He uses Rare Metamorph on that. So yeah, one of them it wouldn't have helped regardless. And again, yeah, we're just killing that. And I believe now, is it the time? No, it's not the time yet. Okay, he didn't. I thought he straight up summoned Gear Golem in this duel, but he didn't. And then we just end with 2 Horuses on the field. Which, but like, what are you gonna do if both your face down cards are either rare metamorphs, or they are spell cards, or like enemy control, which I think they were? You can't do anything, and that is the beauty of Horus. And Hazy Flame Horus is one of my favourite decks to play, as well as Gladiator Beasts. So that is going to be it for today's Duel Links video. If you guys did enjoy, let me know how you get on with these decks. Let me know what decks you've been using to rank up in the KC Cup Stage 1 so far. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next Duel Links video. See you then.